Okay.
Not my own this time.
Give me one moment. There we go. We are streaming live. We can begin.
Okay. The meeting will come to order. The time is now 5:32 p.m. on Monday, May 18th, 2026. This is a regular monthly meeting of the District of Columbia Commission on the Arts and Humanities. My name is Reggie Van Lee, Chairman of the Commission on the Arts and Humanities. I'm an African-American man wearing a gray suit with a white shirt. I will now call the roll. When you hear your name, please answer present. Commissioner Sims, Commissioner Havamana, Commissioner Masters-Berry, Commissioner Butler. Mr. Butler.
He's in there. Unmute, Demetrius.
I'm here, present.
Commissioner Butler.
Present.
Good. Commissioner Wharton.
Present.
Commissioner Torres.
Present.
Commissioner Kim. Commissioner Brienza.
Present.
Commissioner Mankiti.
Present.
Commissioner, oh, good. Commissioner O'Neill. Commissioner Stanton.
Here.
A quorum is present. This is a meeting of a public body held.
Excuse me, Commissioner Barry was here, they had me on the wrong platform again.
Oh, sorry. Welcome, Commissioner Berry. Thank you. A quorum is present. This is a meeting of a public body held in open session and is governed by the Open Meetings Act. Please address any questions or complaints arising under this meeting to the Office of Open Government and OpenGov office at dc.gov. Notice of the meeting was posted on the DC Register, on the Commission's website, dcrs.dc.gov, and on the DC Office of Open Government Central Meetings calendar at open-dc.gov. The meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format, with commissioners joining both in person and remotely using the Zoom meeting platform. The meeting is being live streamed to the Commission's YouTube channel. An electronic recording of the meeting will be available for viewing online following the conclusion of the meeting. Are there any objections to the agenda and minutes that were previously circulated from our April 20th, 2026 regular meeting? Hearing no objection, the agenda for this meeting and minutes from the previous meeting stand as adopted. I will now read the land acknowledgement. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We stand on the ancestral lands of the CAH and the Piscataway people. We pay respect to the elders past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events, and to use such truths to guide the legacy of this Arts Commission. Good evening, welcome to everyone. We have a robust agenda meeting this evening with reports from committees, a grantee highlight, and public commentary from members of the art community. Today, our grantee highlight is Andrea Nelson, representing 826 DC. Ms. Nelson, are you here?
I am. Hi, everybody.
Hello,
Hello.
please proceed.
Perfect. Well, let's make sure I can. Oh, I do need to be able to, if I can share my screen. If I'm happy to.
Okay.
Perfect.
Set right now, I think you should be able to share.
You looks like it. Let's see if this
There
does.
you go.
Amazing. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Fabulous. So, thank you so much for having me, for having us. For those in the room who don't know, we are 826DC. I'm Andrea Nelson. I'm our special programs advisor. As I know many are familiar, 826DC, we are an organization here in the district serving young folks ages 6 to 18 with writing of all kind. Our goal really is about ensuring that students develop a lasting and positive relationship with writing. We know two things to be true. We know that everybody needs to know how to write effectively. We also know it's hard. And we also know that in order to have that foundation to write effectively on whatever path a young person or any of us choose, you have to like it to a certain degree. So that's where so much of our work is really rooted, and we've long grateful to the commission for giving us multi-year support to ensure that we can really do that hard relationship building work. Quick overview of impact, and then I'll drill down a little bit on our last year. In general, overall, we reach about 2,000 students a year, both at our writing lab, which is in Columbia Heights, as well as in partnership with schools, DCPS and DCPCS across the district. We see growth in our students across core fundamental writing competencies. Always happy to answer questions. My background is as a former classroom educator. I've been with 826 for going on 7 or 8 years. So for those that are really interested in writing assessment, I'm always happy to chat. We have, as of a couple days ago, just upped our number to 21 perfectly bound books. Those are sold in bookstores around the city. They are in DCPL, and as of this year, they are in the Library of Congress's collection. And we do, in addition to our school partnerships partner, we're lucky to partner with many fellow arts and humanities organizations, you all inclusive, throughout the city. So again, just giving a quick overview, we sort of have two lanes of our programs, our in-school work, which is exactly what it sounds like. We have a tiered level, our field trips, which have been generously funded for quite a few years by AAHP. These are kind of our intro. They're 2-hour group storytelling, really getting young people into this idea of you write together. Very rarely do you do it or any kind of art alone a lot of the time. So they end that with a book, and then we do varying length writing residencies, including our annual Young Authors Book Project. And then we also have our community enrollment programs. That includes our after-school writing lab, our book distribution program, which has been tremendously helpful due to support from the commission to be able to kind of have that cycle with our students' work so they can both write it, but then other young people, other residents of the district can be inspired by it by distributing it directly to schools and to the libraries. And then also as a part of this, not on this slide, is our youth writers and residents, which I'll speak to momentarily. So just in terms of the what have we been up to, our after school writing lab, which is a real pillar of our work, has had a banner year. For the first time, usually those students are publishing semesterly in what we call a chapbook. You can kind of think a really, really beautiful zine. This year, they've done their first perfect bound book. It will be forthcoming in a couple of weeks. It's called Do You Understand? Stories of Misunderstanding and Understanding from the after school writing lab community. And this has grown. We have our retention rate is very high. I think it's sort of hovering somewhere between 80 to 90% year over year. It's this really rich, incredible multi-age program where students are getting targeted support in the craft of their writing, but genuinely building a community of writers. So that was this year. So keep an eye out for that book forthcoming. Should probably be hitting library shelves in the fall, but will be available for distribution before that. And then, as I mentioned, another community program that we have been able, as a small but nimble organization, to pilot, in large part due to that consistent multi-year support that we've long got from the commission, is year 2 of our youth writer in residence. So these are older students who have gone through our program, either after school writing lab or in school work, who are kind of they're writer leaders in our program. They spend part of their time working on really big projects. Think novel, think that young man on the right in the suit is working on this really beautiful biography of his mother. So they have been able to bop around the city and really share their work. The picture there is of them recently at the Spur Local Gala. They led a big old group of adults through our storytelling and bookmaking field trip. So really got to sort of flip that expertise switch and let them be leading the work. And then they were a big part of our inaugural youth open mic, which we had at Potter's House right before one of our, feels like many, big snowstorms. As I mentioned, publication always a big part. Couple exciting things for us this year. One for After School Writing Lab. They launched their Substack. I'm happy to send around the link to that for anybody who would like it. It's a weekly publication where one of their pieces each week we're in program gets sent out to subscribers. This is a photo from our launch party of that publication. And then one of our longtime students, Ella, had her poem Hope Not Cheese published in the Washington Post. Really quickly, I know we're tight on time, but just so you all have an update on what's been going on with our Young Authors Book Project. Last school year, we worked with the whole 10th grade at Phelps ACE. They published a collection of poetry called narrative poetry called Now I See with Open Eyes. That is, I believe, it's very similar. I believe that's Wisdom, one of our students presenting, reading his poem for 826's national conference of all of our chapters across the country. And this is one of many things we were thrilled about with this, but working with such a large group, which again, we were lucky to be able to, especially in these times, consistently staff at such a scale. We worked with them for the whole year and we were able to see really strong growth as correlated to their ELA exam. So the grade that went through with us for a year, their scores were were notably higher on some of those ELA assessments. So obviously, we know correlation isn't causation, but it was a really interesting narrative to see for working with. This was our biggest Young Authors Book Project in many years. That group had the privilege of being profiled by a piece in EdWeek. And I share this because this student, Nkosi, I think really sums up what happens when we can really have that long relationship and deep relationship with our writers. His poem was called Unexpected Struggles. And as many of our writers feel, it was about writing. But he shared afterwards that he then felt, as you can see in the quote there, that he felt like then after this work, he could, quote, literally turn literally anything into writing. And I've seen that, in my almost 8 years here, I've seen that time and again with our students. It's often the most reluctant ones who are able to have that third space, able to have our talented staff and teaching artists come in, just have that extra perspective. And do something authentic in getting it published that really become those ones who, their work lasts with them, but more importantly, it lasts with the community. And finally, another little sneak peek. This one just hit our office Friday. We got it delivered. This is our Young Authors Book Project from this year. It's called Living in the Storm. And we worked with H.D. Woodson High School, their collegiate academy, another collection of poetry. And I will have my parting words be a poem from one of our students, Christian. It says, Why are we not reading? Why are we watching one another fail when it comes to understanding text? To read, to have knowledge is to have power. For those of us who have murky skin living in a ward labeled by a digit. To have knowledge and power is sometimes more necessary than sustenance. Knowledge and power can sustain you in ways a green piece of paper or a red fruit cannot. Having this knowledge will give you your mind the strength of Achilles. You will fly and touch the sky, just as Icarus once did. But before long, the sustenance and stability we all crave for will surface into our laps, in our hands, in our minds, because we have the power to make things happen inside of us if we read. So why are we not reading? Reading isn't easy. It takes time. You can get caught and stuck on words. You may not even understand what you're reading. This is why we ask for help, why we ask for those around us who can read. Odysseus couldn't have made it home without his 600 men. You won't be able to make it to the place you wish to call your home unless you lean on others. So why are we not reading? There are books like The Boy with a Father Who Commands the Sea, a man dressed in underwear with a red cape and black spots. There's even a book about a man who fought for people like us with dirt skin. Father, they call him. So I ask again, why are we not reading? So thank you all.
How old is that young person?
How
Who
old?
wrote that? How old is-
11th grade.
Amazing.
Yeah, these were juniors.
Well, thank you and congratulations on all you've done, all the way from being in the Library of Congress to helping enable young people like the young man who wrote the poem we just heard. So thank you.
Absolutely.
We're glad
Thank you
that
for having us.
we're part of the process that helps you do what you do.
Yes, we are beyond grateful.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So now we're going to move on to our public comment portion. We have 4 of our constituents signed up for public comment. The commission welcomes your comments. They're very important to us. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please address your remarks to the chair. Note that there will not be engaging into dialogue at this point. The purpose of this agenda item is for you, the public, to inform us, the commission, about your views. If members of the public have factual questions, staff will be glad to follow up via email. So when I call your name, you can begin, and we'll start with Christy Walser. Is Christy Walser there?
I think so.
I am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairperson Van Lee and Commissioners. Thank you for your time and attention. My name is Christy Walser. I'm the Executive Director of Project CREATE, located at 2208 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue Southeast in a historic Anacostia in Ward 8. As we learned at the budget hearing on May 6, due to the mayor's fund sweep of the commission's FY26 fund balance and lower than expected revenue projections, the mayor's office and CFO are blocking the payout of large capital project grants already recommended for funding at the March commission meeting. Total grant funding in the amount of $3.474 million is now frozen, impacting 3 nonprofits, Project CREATE, Theater Alliance, and Atlas Performing Arts Center. I'm here now to ask for help saving the FY26 large capital grant. Since 1994, Project CREATE has been providing accessible arts education to children, youth, and families in the city. In 2014, Project CREATE moved to Anacostia, where we've been expanding our footprint from a small studio above Mama's Pizza to our first art center at 2208 MLK, which we purchased in 2019. In 2023, we purchased the building next door, formerly the Anacostia Animal Clinic. That building is in need of significant renovation, and we intend to join it to our current building in order to continue to expand our art center. Having been named DC's Arts and Culture District, Anacostia is losing anchor arts institutions left and right, including the Anacostia Playhouse and, at least for the next couple years, the Anacostia Art Center. Anacostia needs more art space, and Project CREATE is ready to fill the void. Our programs, 100% free to community members, are at capacity, and without more space, we cannot expand to serve more families who need and deserve accessible arts education, art therapy, and creative spaces. A second grant was designated for Theater Alliance in Ward 6, which, in addition to producing award-winning theater, will support 5 additional resident DC art companies. A third grant was awarded to Atlas Performing Arts Center, also in Ward 6, an H Street anchor since 2006 that also hosts multiple arts partners. The impact of the withdrawal of this funding has serious implications, including stopping or significantly slowing our ability to make needed repairs, to make renovations that are needed to put our buildings into use, and to share space with other arts organizations that depend on us. The executive directors and board of directors of each of our organizations have launched an advocacy campaign extending to the mayor's office, Council Chair Mendelson, Ward 6, Ward 8, and at-large council members, ANC, BIDS, and others. I'm here to ask you, the commissioners, for your support and advocacy to save the FY26 large capital grants. Our 3 nonprofits and many others have made significant investments, including raising funds from private foundations, individuals, and corporations. We're all small nonprofits with budgets ranging from $500,000 to $3 million annually, and we cannot afford pay-to-play efforts like lobbyists. We need your help. Please reach out to your council members and ANC members. Please write a letter to the chairman, make calls, and send emails. Everything will help us now. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And obviously, we are fully supportive of what you're saying, that it's reflected in our March full commission vote on awarding those funds. So we are very much in support. Thank you for bringing it to a public forum, because it is about the public also expressing their support to the people that you named before. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our second public comment, Samara Chatterjee.
I don't think they're, I
Sorry.
don't, I didn't see them.
Samuel Cruz.
I didn't see that.
Joanne Lamparter.
Someone else from.
Greetings. Joanne could not be here today, so I'm stepping into her place.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much for having us. Good evening, Chairperson Van Lee. My name is Sean Byrne. I'm a staff member with Imagination Stage DC, registered at 1333 H Street Northeast. As I said, our registry commenter, Joanne Lamparter, could not make it, but she does send her well wishes. I have just a short comment today for the record. First, we want to thank the Commission, the Grant Committee, and the staff for all the advocacy and budget discussions with the DC Council, similarly to what Christy was saying. And we'd like to encourage this Commission to request the full amounts needed to fund the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities Council grants. We appreciate the extra participation in the process and hope you will do what is possible to achieve the full GOS, FTE, and AHEP funding requested. As a registered DC business and 501c3 charity, Imagination DC this year has served nearly 5,000 youth and their families at DC public schools, DC charter schools, Planet Word, and other partnerships and locations, and expect to do the same in the upcoming 26-27 season. We believe in line with the DC Council's priorities around youth and youth safety, as well as safety for physical and mental health. There is plenty more to do and more partners that can do it, naming some such as Theater Alliance, such as Planet Word, such as Atlas Performing Arts Center, Project Create, and many others that are mentioned. And so we urge again your help in advocacy in making sure that we seek the full amount in the budget process and offer any support as may be needed, and we can do that. We thank you all for all your opportunities, and Imagination Stage DC is here to support in those.
Well, thank you. And as I said, when I commented on Ms. Walser, the commission is 1,000% behind supporting the recommendations that we made, voted on as a full commission back in March. So you have our support and we have yours, and bringing it to the public again is so important, so that everyone who sees this as important voices that to their representatives. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Now the commission calls Executive Director Aaron Myers to present his report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm African-American male, black shirt, balding, doing the best we can. I'll start with some agency updates. The agency's budget oversight hearing took place on Wednesday, May 6, 2026 at 9 a.m. During the hearing, I reiterated a few things. A, CAH is currently building its next strategic plan. B, the general operating support for FY25. 220 grantees received $19,813,000, generating 4,273,285 audience touch points, 436,700 educational opportunities, and 32,000 paid artist opportunities. Our projects, events, and festivals, PEP-I and PEP-O, FY25 included 90 PEP-I grantees supporting 1,241 creative jobs, and 34 PEP-O grantees creating 1,835 more. In FY26, PEP-I applications rose by 43% and awardees by 39%, including 54 new and 21 first-time recipients. Field trip experiences, or FTE, 16 organizations received $436,000 to support 12,706 students and pay 188 artists. In survey responses, artists in the fellowship program indicated that CAH funding allowed them to remain in the district despite the rising cost of living. The proposed decrease of $6.64 million only compounds a decrease from previous fiscal years. D, the proposed FY27 budget, $39.1 million. This represents over 23.5% decrease in the 3-year period. E, this reduction represents only 0.313% of the overall DC budget. That is an interesting percentage there because we went back and forth to make sure we had the actual number there to make sure it was accurate. F, a $2.9 million reduction requires one of two options. One, 15% cut to every organization, or two, significant reduction in the number of organizations that receive funding. G, a $100,000 cut limits our ability to expand the Art Bank. This is within our Art Bank program, deliver murals citywide, and partner with agencies on beautification and safety initiatives like Fresh Paint DC. This cut also limits our ability to perform essential maintenance and conservation on our permanent public art collections. To protect the ecosystem and prevent losses across all 8 wards, CAH requests: 1, authorization to use the CAH fund balance to stabilize FY26 and FY27. The fund balance exists for exactly this purpose, to protect agencies funded by dedicated tax revenue when projections do not align with actuals. And 2, removal of the 102% cap and reinstatement of the original 5% dedicated tax allocation. The cap has throttled CAH. Removing it will allow CAH to grow in proportion to the district's economic conditions as originally intended. The City Council, as those who appropriate, with these facts presented, and from those facts as presented by members of the public who testified, I will say both then and also today, will vote on whether CAH will have the ability to utilize its fund balance to stabilize its FY26 and FY27 budgets. I want the public to know, with whatever we are given in our budget, we will use it to support, uplift, and stabilize the creative ecosystem in both a fair and equitable way. For those members of the ecosystem who would like to meet with us to learn more about our priorities, please email ashley.lynch@dc.gov and email the director directly, aaron.myers@dc.gov. And we will work to get a meeting scheduled. And I would like to say here, commissioners, some people have already taken us up on that particular offer, and we've been able to share and really learn a great deal about what our grants do for the ecosystem. So this has been an important thing. The agency has posted 2 positions since our last meeting. Last week, CAH posted the position of general counsel that is open to the public. The position of senior grants officer was open, and the top 10 applicable candidates were interviewed in the first round. And we will start a second round this week with the 3 candidates who were selected from the panel. This panel consisted of a grant manager, public arts manager, deputy director. The next panel will consist of the deputy general counsel, resource operations officer, deputy director, and executive director. Once a final selection is made, I will share with the commissioners, team, and public. We wanted to ensure that as we did this, that a person who reports to this individual got a chance to understand what was going on. Someone who was lateral to the position got a chance to interview this person. Person who supervised this person got a chance to interview this person, of course, and the deputy general counsel to make sure they were sound overall. That was in the first round. And then, of course, we'll add our resource operations officer and finance to that for the next round. Today, we welcome Moises Del Rosario. He joins the team as a community development specialist. Moises, who comes to us from the Office of the Deputy Mayor of Planning and Economic Development, or DEMPED, where he led community affairs and interagency coordination efforts. Fun fact, Moises made history as the youngest licensed real estate agent in Washington, D.C., passing the licensing exam at just 18 years old. Grants. eStarts, and you will hear some of this possibly in the grants update, but eStarts and projects, events, festivals will be closing Friday, May 22nd at 5 p.m. If you're listening to this, please submit now. Don't wait until then. If they have any questions about eStarts, you can reach out to Patience Rowe or Tanya Myers and Lucy Hernandez for PEF. We anticipate opening summer grants June 2nd, so stay tuned for more information. As always, the agency is recruiting panelists, and I'm sure Gretchen will speak to this as well. If you would like to serve as a panelist, please reach out to Kayla Williams, kayla.williams@dc.gov. Strategic plan. I'm pleased to share that the strategic planning process is continuing to move forward thoughtfully and collaboratively into its next phase. I want to extend my appreciation to the full CAH staff team who participated in the staff visioning session on April 30th. Their ideas and candid feedback are helping shape the direction of the agency's next 4-year strategic plan. And I should say, with their candid feedback, it makes the executive director tougher as well, all right? In tandem, the commissioners' visioning session will take place during the scheduled joint executive and governance committee meeting on May 27th. Looking ahead, we're preparing for the next phase of community and stakeholder engagement. In the coming weeks, we'll be sharing more information about the public review period, which will invite feedback from the public and CAH grantees. We also plan to discuss the emerging priorities with our agency creative coalition, which consists of our sister agencies and key district partners to gather their perspectives on how the commission can strengthen agency alignment to better support the city's cultural ecosystem. Public and grantee feedback sessions will take place both virtually and in person at the commission's office during the week of June 8th. If you are unable to attend the session on the listed dates, you will have the opportunity to provide written feedback between the 21st and the 31st of July. We encourage everyone to visit the strategic plan website for the public review period specific dates, and we'll continue sharing additional details through June. And I will say this, I want to thank all the public who did come for our budget oversight hearing. And even tonight, we want to thank the chairman for sending a staff member here who also cares about and wants to hear from the public. So thank you for coming as well. This is the first time I will note that a council member has been able to send a staff person, and we invite all council members to come and send staff people so they can learn and we can talk and we can have a collaborative relationship on behalf of the ecosystem, because that's what the ecosystem is seeking. So thank you.
Good, good. So I'll take any questions commissioners have, but first, while everything you spoke to is important, I want to reemphasize and reiterate the two requests that we have around the funding. And this is very much supported by the public comments we heard already today. So I'm just going to repeat the words that you said. First, authorization to use the CAH fund balance to stabilize FY26 and FY27. And second, the removal of the 102% cap and reinstatement of the original 5% dedicated sales tax allocation. That is the very strong position of the commission. It is something that we see as critical to maintain the ecosystem here in Washington, D.C., and aligns with everyone that we've spoken to of our constituents, including the people that spoke today in public comments. So I just wanted to reiterate that. But any questions, comments from any of the commissioners on the executive director's report? If not, I will go to the grants report. Gretchen.
Hello, everyone. Please forgive the fact that I am not on screen. I'm having multiple technology problems, so I'm talking into my cell phone. I'm Gretchen Wharton. I'm chair of the grants committee, Black female with white hair, black glasses, pink blouse on today. And you're going to hear me reiterate what everyone else has been saying about being able to use the fund balance. That is so critical to us. So we need each and every one of you to go out and talk to everybody about how critical this is to the Arts Commission and to the arts in Washington. Okay, our FY26 grant cycle. Over 97% purchase orders for the current year have been issued. Grant managers are working with the remaining handful of grantees to finalize paperwork for the creation of purchase orders. Interim reports for organizational grantees were due on May 4th. Grant managers have been reviewing and approving them in order to issue second payments and to close out the fiscal year. Large capital projects. The large capital project grant awards approved in the amount of $3.45 million by the commission in March have been on hold as the agency has been asked to identify $2.6 million in savings for the current year because of underperforming dedicated tax revenue. Typically, the agency would utilize monies from its fund balance to account for any shortfall in revenue, but the agency has not been given the authorization to access it. I know you've heard this 3 or 4 times, and we're going to keep saying it until we get this money. Data migration from jungle lasers to submittable. The agency successfully migrated over 6,000 organizational and 11,000 plus individual records from the old grants management system to the new system. Submittable, that's the name of it, in 2 stages during March and April. Grantees have been submitting interim reports for FY26 along with applications for various grants in the FY27 cycle using the new system. This is a really big deal. We've been trying to get this done for probably 8 years, and we finally got the money and we finally were able to select the correct people to integrate the system. So I think everybody will find this is a great improvement for the grant system. FY27 grant cycle. General operating support. The agency received over 240 applications to the FY27 cycle of GOS, which closed on May 5th. Grant managers are in the process of vetting applications for eligibility and completeness. Eligible applications will go to panel in late June. Late June? The current, I think I'm reading that. Oh, yeah, for 27, correct. The current FY26 cycle of GOS has 211 grantees. East Arts and Projects, Events, and Festival that we call PEF, individuals and organizations. These 3 organizational grant programs are currently open and scheduled to close on May 22nd. That's not too far from here. The East Arts grant currently has 45 drafting applications, whereas PEF-I has 130 and PEF Organization has 57 applications in the mix. Additional grant programming announcements. The following 4 programs are scheduled for launch on Tuesday, June 2nd. Arts and Humanities Education Project, Arts and Humanities Fellowship Program, and the Capital Projects for small capital projects, and field trip experiences. All 4 grants are currently scheduled to close on Tuesday, July 7th. Please keep those dates in mind. All grant programs will have multiple workshops and live chat opportunities available during the open application window. We strongly encourage both new and returning applicants to attend so that they're able to submit the strongest application possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, comments, commissioners on grants? Thank you, Gretchen. Thank the grants team and the grants committee. We move on to finance. Janice? Or who's going to cover for Janice? Brandon?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to cover for Janice. I'm also just going to present on behalf of the Finance Committee meeting. My name is Brandon Saunders, Resource Operations Manager here at Commission of the Arts and Humanities. Happy to join y'all. I'm a African-American male wearing a black and gold striped t-shirt, and y'all can't really see it, but as I just saw recently, 1 gray follicle in the hair after this budget cycle. So it's really wearing on me, y'all.
That's just reflecting wisdom, Brandon.
That is hilarious, Brandon. That is hilarious.
I'm hoping it is. They say your arithmetic skills age best at a little bit later than where I'm at. So hopefully this commissioner there. But I also, just to lighten the mood up a little bit, because I know we've had some and been focusing on just a lot of overall not so bright news, of course, around what the agency needs around the fund balance, of course, and just to stabilize the rest of FY26 and FY27. In our finance committee meeting, which we met about last week, we, of course, shared a lot of not just from the more macro perspective, but shared, and I will save that for the particular meeting that we had, but also welcome all the commissioners, even it's nothing that's transparent, members even of the public to our meetings, for some of these things to discuss in a more robust fashion, of course. But for this report, just wanted to kind of more focus on the internal actuals of FY26 to see where the agency is currently at. We are currently in month 2 of the 3rd quarter, and yes, thanks, Chris. We can kind of get into the midst of the report there. And so I try to include, I'm going to try to include like a dashboard and some extra visuals just in the future reports as well, to kind of give an overall summary of the report and in relation to where we were in the previous report from the last month. So you'll actually see that I'll increase the font for the next time, but in the far left and dark colored square, there's a anecdote that says that the budget has grown actually $25,000, and that is actually due to an agency match that we received in terms of federal funds from EOM that MOU'd the agency over some money. So that is still, even at the most granular level, the agency is finding ways to still stabilize the budget in the current fiscal year overall. But overall, as well, we are sitting at about 20% of the budget. Mostly the things that are unobligated are honestly personnel services. So we still have to get paid, and that we're paid on a cycle, of course, for the rest of the fiscal year. So that's still to come. But let's get into the midst of some of the rest of the admin and grants budgets, which we can go to the next page. And so, yes, thank you. So first, we'll focus on, of course, the administrative side of the budget. The very top line is the aforementioned personnel services side, which is sitting at about 51%. So just right on schedule, of course, for the remaining part of the year. Additionally, and we can actually, let's just go to the next slide, Chris, as a matter of fact. Because I think that, and my team, we try to include this in the visual. We'll work on increasing the size of the font. But this slide actually is a breakdown of both the more specific line item groups all and how they're nestled into the larger categories for everyone's edification, just so they can kind of see the correlation overall. This table versus the last table shows a lot more of the categorical breakdown. So everything from contractual services, our largest category, but all the way down to travel, advertising, sponsorships, supplies, security, etc. And overall, we're still sitting at about.
Brandon, if I could comment here, this is a direct response to requests from commissioners and others that we have that level of detail. So you're providing to us what we needed to really understand some level of detail here. It's not everywhere, but it's in the important categories. Is that correct?
Yes. Thank you so much for that clarification. And I also, that's where in our actual finance committee meetings, we are willing to, not always given the context, but we're willing to even break it down even further from here as well. But this is the level of reporting data, even a level more granular that you would find at the budget book level.
And I'll repeat your early offer. If a commissioner really wants to understand it at a level of detail, they can, one, come to the finance committee meeting, right? Or they can get time with you separately. So once again, we want people to feel comfortable, they understand the numbers. So thank you.
And this is more transparent and in depth than they'll get in any other document that you get.
Exactly.
I appreciate that as well, because yes, more than anything, I love just sharing about my role, how we manage things overall, how it breaks down. It can get kind of I keep using the word granular, but it's nothing that's really, it's just very detailed sometimes, and just need to be compartmentalized into more just appetizable pieces in order to be indigestible pieces to understand at times. So that's what the finance committee meeting is about. It's for more of talking about just more macro level policy issues and how it could be an effect for the future. It's not just for running the current numbers in that way. So and then kind of with that said, we can kind of move to the last slide. And this is the same level of breakdown, but across our grants side of things, which is of course 80+% of the agency's budget overall. We're honestly, I think that Commissioner Wharton read out a lot of the overall expenditure rates of the grants, that the purchase order statuses and so forth. So outside of some of the, of course, larger programs that we know that are waiting maybe to disseminate it for obviously policy reasons, the agency is in really good shape. And I would say that we're actually in the process of transitioning towards closing out for the rest of FY26 and prepping for FY27 as well, which correlates also to Commissioner Woods' report. And so, yes, thank y'all as always for your time, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Brandon. Questions, comments from the commissioners? Thanks again, Brandon.
Thank you.
So according to my agenda, we don't have any other committee reports at this meeting. Is there any unfinished business that we need to cover?
No, we just want to celebrate that I know some of the members of our staff and there are some of our grantees who are all nominated tonight. for the Helen Hayes Awards. And this is something that we as a city should take a great deal of pride. Reg's experience with the theater scene in New York, I'm always amazed to see when he's come here and been able to see the theater and the art scene in Washington. We really are one of America's best kept secrets. But once you are in the audience, you see how these actors and all those behind the scenes and our grantees and the programs that we support for young people to learn the craft, to be able to join this particular profession. We just want to wish everybody is a winner, at least in our eyes. But please continue to consider DC a place where you want to make art, because we're here to support you. And we, some of us will be there tonight to cheer you on. So that's, I want to make sure I said that.
In particular, Gretchen, Warren, Aaron, and myself will be attending. Once we leave here, we're going to the Helen Hayes Awards. So I just reiterate what Aaron said about, we really are proud of the work that's done here. We want to support it and show visibly our support. So we're happy to do that. If there's no other unfinished business, we'll proceed to new business. Is there any new business? Hearing none, we'll proceed to the close of the meeting. The next meeting of the commission will be held Monday, June 15th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. The time is now 6:18 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.